Hey Marisa, thanks for sending over the videos. Took me a while to add to my Dropbox, but I got it on there now. Had to clear out some stuff, so now I can review it. I'm trying out doing this like video review so you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at, and I can maybe point out things more easily. So let me know if this helps. So for your squat here, day 205 for 5. You're still doing high bar, so we'll just focus on the high bar technique for now until your wrist is healed and you can go low bar technique. So first thing, as we went over with a lot of people in the seminar, is trying to shorten your walkout because you only need to go as far back as you need to not hit the rack while you're actually squatting. Anything more than that is just a waste. So here, that's a pretty good step there, or you can even do where your toe is in line with your foot like halfway or 3/4. And then from there, you kind of just want to go left and right and set your foot. Where here, now you did your half steps. So you did 1.5 steps instead of just doing half or 3/4 or one at the most. So you did extra. And so now you see you're almost like at the back of the rack. And then you kind of even moved your left foot back forward and came back forward a little bit. So you have all the space here where you can be a little bit more forward. All right, for the actual squat, let's take a look. So you did a good job there, taking your breath, expanding against your belt. The first movement should be for high bar, break at the knees going forward. So that was good right there, nice and upright. All right, bottom position, heels are down, knees are forward, depth looks good. It just looked like you rushed your descent a little bit, so you might want to control your descent and not just dive bomb. I know it helps with it, you can get that bounce, but you also don't want to lose your tightness. And if you go too fast, then it's possible the bar goes forward because you're not staying tight. So you can see here your bar is here. But on the way down, you're a little forward. So you might want to slow down your descent. Make sure you're staying in the proper position. Make sure you're keeping your tightness so you don't drift forward in the hole. All around, good set. Let's go to our deadlift from day 240 for 5. So one thing to note is I'm pretty sure it's for all these plates that are not round, but I've tested I think one brand, and the thing is that because it's not round, the diameter is actually shortened because these are flat rather than if this was rounded over, the plate would actually be a little bit bigger. So these aren't standard size plates, so you're actually doing a deficit. So every time you train with these plates, you're doing a deficit, which means that you have to bend down further. It's going to be a longer range of motion, and so your starting position is going to be different and it's going to be harder. So I'll go to LA Fitness and I'll do 500 pounds for one and I'll feel miserable, and I'll go use round plates and 500 for one. We'll feel like I can do like 5 more reps. So it's going to be a little bit different. So your starting position also might feel different to what we went over in the seminar. But that looks good right there. So not the perfect angle, but it looks like shoulder blades are over the bar, front delts are in front of the bar, hips are higher than the knees, shoulders are higher than the hips, arms are angled back slightly. And so with this weight too, you can see the difference between when you try and start to pull and when the bar breaks the ground, everything stays in position, everything rises together, versus if you were sitting down too far, then the first thing would happen was your butt would come up. So this looks like a good position for you. If you can kind of point your head down a little bit, you don't need to crank it back like that, then it might feel better on your neck. Okay, and you'll be able to let your shoulders round over a little bit more, make your arms longer, but not a big deal. That looks good right there. So all those reps look good, and you kind of naturally come back into the correct starting position on the descent since it's easier on the way down, and this matches what you were doing on your first rep. So starting position there looks good for the height that you have with these weights. Now when you go to round plates, position might be a little bit different just because the bar will be at a different position. So let's see if we can find a bench press before we go to more squats and deadlifts. So let's look at this day 5 bench press, 85 for 3. So doing a good job here, digging the toes in, trying to set the arch as much as you can. Nice wide grip. And I think I mentioned it to you before, just like the plates are not the right size for deadlifts with those non-round plates, these bars usually don't have the power rings in the right location. So typically on these bars, like the ones I use at Fitness, the power ring is in closer than what it is on a competition ring. So if you're using this, you have to just know when you go to a competition bar, the same hand position on the ring might feel different because the rings might be in an inch more on each side on this. So on these bars, I actually grip outside the ring just because they're in about an inch. So this is a good position here. Feet are flat, knees are below the hips. Looks like you're tight through the back. Here, elbows are good where it's flared out and not tucked in too close to shoulder. Bars over the wrist, and wrist is over the elbow, and bar is touching low on the chest. So that looks like good position right there. So you want to try and avoid this bouncing on the chest. So right there you can see where the bar doesn't actually stop on the chest. It's kind of bouncing around on the chest while it's touching the chest. So you just want to focus on squeezing the bar as hard as you can with your hands, squeezing your shoulder blades together as hard as you can, and then trying to just touch lightly. So you're not dropping it on the chest, you're just trying to lightly touch and come up. So that will kind of help you stay tighter. Without in here, it's just vibrating the whole time or bouncing, whatever you want to call it. And in a competition, actually, the bar is not motionless, so you wouldn't get a press command until it completely stops. All right, let's take a look at another squat. So let's go to this day 4, 210 for 4. Let's see how it looks compared to lighter ones. So there, the walkout's good if you're just doing one full foot length. Then at this point, you want to go left and right and set up. Where here, then you do another half. So you're doing 1.5 steps back. Same thing as the other day, and then you're kind of coming forward and readjusting. So you're taking extra steps. Doing a good job again, taking air, bracing against the belt. Doing a good job against breaking at the knees first. Again, you might have to just focus on slightly slower descent where you're under control. So similar thing for both days on squat. Let's take a look at another day of deadlifts. Let's look at this 255 for 3 since it's a little bit heavier. So that one did look a little bit different. Like you said, you might have been a little bit too close to the bar, and so your hips felt a little bit too high. So that one did look a little bit different. Like maybe you were actually too close to the bar, hips are too high, and you kind of have to like round your back over a little bit to kind of smush yourself in position. So you might just need to focus in on finding the sweet spot of where your feet need to be and how far your shins need to be from the bar, so that when you go into your position, you get in the correct starting position. Especially with these plates that are not round, you basically can't roll it forward or back. So if you start in the wrong position, once you get down here, you kind of have to let go and start all over again. Where if you had round plates, you can kind of roll the bar forward like half an inch and then get yourself in the correct starting position. So it did look a little bit weird. You're a little bit better here just because when you come down, you kind of get it in the better spot. So the back is straighter here, and the hips are a little bit lower. But it definitely looks different than the day 1 or the other day that we looked at. So you just got to focus on getting that sweet spot in the starting position where it's not too close and not too far. Let's see on this 245 for 4 how to look. That one looked maybe a little bit better. And overall, all these sets look easy. Bar speed was good. Let's take a look at another bench press to finish off. let's look at the last set, see how that went. So similar thing, even with the last set, it's just this little bouncing on the chest. So just like that. So overall, kind of all the same thing. So for the squats, you might just want to focus on a shorter walkout. So instead of 1.5 steps back, let's see if we can get it down to just 1 step back. For the descent, focus on maybe going a little bit slower so you can stay under control and not let the bar drift forward. For bench press, we're just focusing on squeezing the bar with our hands, squeezing our shoulder blades together and trying to lightly touch on the chest so the bar stops faster on the chest rather than bouncing up and down, which is going to lead to a longer press command. And then for deadlift, it's just working on that sweet spot for the starting position where you're not too close and you can't get your hips down or bend your knees at all, and you're not too far where you're sitting down too much and then hips are shooting up. All right, so hope that helps. Hope training is going well this week.